I thought that relationship was my future until God showed me better. There was a time in my life when I truly believed I had found the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Everything about the relationship felt real to me. The conversations, the dreams we shared, the plans we made about the future. I invested my time, my emotions, my loyalty, even my prayers. I remember telling God about it constantly. I would pray, Lord, please bless this relationship. Let it work. Because in my mind, losing that person meant losing the future I had imagined. But slowly, things began to change. What once felt peaceful began to feel heavy. Conversations became arguments. The same person who once made me feel secure started making me question my worth. And if I'm honest, there were nights I cried myself to sleep. I kept trying to fix it. I kept trying to be more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. I told myself love required endurance. I told myself maybe if I tried harder, prayed harder, changed something about myself, the relationship would go back to the way it used to be. But deep inside, my spirit was tired. One night, after another painful conversation, I sat alone and opened my Bible. And the verse that met me was 1 Corinthians 14 verse 33. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. That verse hit me differently that night. Because the truth was, my relationship was filled with confusion. I was constantly overthinking, constantly anxious, constantly wondering where I stood. And in that moment, I began asking myself a question I had been avoiding for a long time. If God brings peace, why does this relationship bring so much turmoil? Letting go wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. Because walking away meant accepting that the future I had imagined with that person wasn't the future God had planned for me. For weeks after the breakup, my heart felt empty. I questioned everything. I questioned whether I had made the right decision. I questioned whether I would ever love again. But in that quiet season, something beautiful started happening. God began rebuilding me. He began showing me parts of myself that I had neglected while trying to keep that relationship alive. My peace slowly started returning. My confidence began growing again. And I started understanding something I had never truly grasped before. A healthy relationship should never pull you away from who God created you to be. The Bible says in Ephesians 5 verse 25, Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. When I read that verse during my healing process, it changed my understanding of love completely. Christ didn't love the church in a way that wounded her. He loved sacrificially. He protected. He nurtured. He uplifted. And that made me realize something powerful. Real love should reflect God's character. It should feel safe. It should feel honorable. It should inspire growth, not insecurity. Months passed, and the pain slowly turned into clarity. I started focusing on becoming the woman God created me to be. I invested time in my faith, my purpose, my personal growth. And something surprising happened. The heartbreak that once felt like the end of my story actually became the beginning of my transformation. Today, when I look back, I no longer see that breakup as a loss. I see it as protection. Because sometimes God removes people from our lives not to punish us, but to prepare us. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.